Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this program. The Saturday evening discussion on this platform is meant to be an open one, where we invite the listeners to use the link at the bottom of the screen there to join us and have a discussion. Tonight, we would like to discuss the ZANU-PF party resolution reaffirming the resolution of last year's party conference, in which the party decided that Mnangagwa's term of office must be extended beyond the 2028 set as the maximum by the maximum two-term limits. The party's conference this year has reaffirmed that resolution. Here is the party's Secretary for Legal Affairs and the Minister of Justice and Parliamentary Affairs announcing the resolution.
Now, therefore, be it resolved by the delegates to the ZANU-PF 22nd National People's Conference as follows. State of the party. On the state of the party, that whereas the 21st National People's Conference of ZANU-PF held on 26 October 2024 in Bulawayo resolved as follows. In recognition of the extensive developmental milestones and the significant socio-economic progress achieved under the leadership of the President and First Secretary of ZANU-PF, His Excellency Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, it is resolved that his term of office as President of the Republic of Zimbabwe be extended beyond 2028 to 2030. The party and government are therefore directed to initiate the requisite legislative amendments to give full effect to this resolution to ensure continuity, stability, and the sustained transformation of the nation. Noting that no notable steps have been taken to implement the above resolution, this conference hereby reaffirms this resolution and directs the Secretary for Legal Affairs and the Minister of Justice to ensure that before the 23rd National People's Conference, this resolution of the party is fully implemented.
This is interesting. I think the first point that must be made very clear and loudly is that Mnangagwa is not allowed to stay beyond 2028. He has served the stipulated maximum 2 terms. And for the party, therefore, to come up with a resolution suggesting that somehow he is allowed is a nonsense. This is a party that has no respect of the rule of law. One of the things that I remember so vividly when I was in high school, the first time I heard about freedom of expression, the right of the individual to do whatever. The teacher who taught the class then, wanted to underline the importance of duty to others. We were talking, for instance, of the right of freedom of expression. It's interesting how some people would talk about freedom of expression when it is them who are being denied their right to talk. But the minute they're given that right, their instinct is, how can I tell others or deny others the right to talk or shut them up? That is their instinct. They want to exercise, they think my freedom of expression entails telling others to shut up or denying them the right to even say anything at all. Of course, it becomes meaningless, because what freedom is there if somebody else can take away that right from you? The moral of the story was, you can only enjoy freedom of expression or any of these other freedoms if you realize that you have also got a duty of care to others to make sure that you do not deny them the same right. What we are seeing here with ZANU-PF is a classical example of that. So the party now thinks that because they have got the party in government, they've got the right to change the law so that it suits them. All this argument about, he has made milestones in development, etc., has nothing to do with it. The law was written. It never said, however, you can extend your maximum two-term limits if you are seen to be performing. It was never written like that. The law was very clear. This is the law. Everyone must respect it. You serve a maximum of 2 terms. That's it. And now we've got a party that has encouraged its membership to believe they can change the law under the pretext that Mnangagwa has performed very well. Ben, welcome to the program. You've heard the ZANU-PF conference resolution. Are you surprised?
Good day to you, and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, let's look at the history of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has never had any constitutional, change of power where you have one president to the other. The only time we had a shift of power was through a military coup. And the first time we are being asked to stand by our constitution, we are ready to amend it. This is our history. We basically are saying, what ZANU-PF is basically saying is, we are unable to have that power shift or power change. They have no succession, strategy in place. Because, I mean, look, we have had, this whole world here has had marvelous leaders, people that have changed their countries tremendously. I'll give you an example close to home, South Africa, Nelson Mandela, 1 term of office. But what he did for his country will go down in the history books, and Emerson will never. That is just what it is. But he didn't go and alter the constitution just because he had done something different? Why should he then want to alter just because he's built a few roads? Basically, that is the achievement, and trababalas. Beyond that, there is nothing that he has achieved. The country has 10 ambulances. The country has no medicines in the hospital. Children in the rural areas are learning in dilapidated buildings, mud huts, mud structures. They don't have proper, infrastructure. The only thing that we have seen with Emerson is rampant corruption, which he has achieved, and unless that now, is a merit, there's really nothing to show. Inflation has run away. So where is the merit? Where is the merit in all this? I mean, the world has seen better leaders. They went, they came in and they went. Why is Emerson's case any different?
One of the tragedies with our present situation is that we are talking here of a party that has never held free, fair, and credible elections ever since the country's independence. They've rigged the elections. In other words, they have forged the people's mandate. And yet they want to pretend that they have a mandate. 2023 elections were observed by many election observers, including SADC and the AU. All of them have damned the election process as flawed and illegal. You cannot deny that Mnangagwa rigged the elections. I've said on this platform that SADC and the AU would have gone one step further and denied Mnangagwa and this ZANU-PF regime the right to rule, as they did in 2008, and forced the regime into a new GNU. That did not happen in 2023 because the opposition lied and conned its followers into believing that if they were going to win those elections, Triple C was going to win big. The people should participate. And those followers participated in their millions. Once you have participated, you cannot then turn around and say the election process was flawed. Because you knew it was flawed. And you claimed that you had plugged the vote tricking loopholes. When you have failed, no one is interested. That is why we are here. But there cannot be any doubt that the ZANU-PF rigged those elections, that Mnangagwa is illegitimate. So our position now is one where we have got an illegitimate regime that is in power, and now they want to extend the stay of the regime beyond even the stipulated maximum number of terms the individual must serve. The process here is interesting in the sense that it's now going beyond just rigging the elections. They are rigging the process itself. They are rigging how Mnangagwa is going to stay beyond the stipulated maximum 2-term periods. And this is what the party has resolved. They've tasked the Secretary of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs and the Minister of Justice and Parliamentary Affairs to find ways to do so. And the fear is, of course, this is a regime that has always had very little regard for the rule of law. Will they find a way to meet this ED 2030 resolution? We know that in the past they have. This may be a bigger challenge, but the chances are they'll break whatever rules they are, bribe so many people to get what they want. Even getting this resolution, it must be said, Mnangagwa had to bribe a lot of the party members and other people involved. It is no secret that the past year Mnangagwa has spent billions of dollars in bribing various people, from buying cars for the party's 300 Central Committee members, buying cars for 700 of the senior officers in the army, buying cars for various other party leaders, and so on and so forth, so that they all endorse this ED 2030 agenda. We already know that Mnangagwa has control over the mining industry. A recent report showed that only 1% of the revenue from mining is actually going to government. The other 99% is disappearing the tube. And Mnangagwa, sitting at the apex of the blatant vote rigging, is the one who is benefiting from it the most. That is the tragedy of Zimbabwe. This is where we are going.
You know, you look at a man that stood up on many occasions and said, I will stand by the Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist. I will not go beyond my term of office. You know, a man of integrity, a man who stands on principles, would have addressed this to say, you know, gentlemen, there is really no need to be fussing over all this. You know, there's really no need to be putting any spanners to the work. I am not going to go beyond my term limit and pour cold water to it. But the mere fact that, you know, he did not address it, it means he is for it. There's no doubt about that. So from where I'm looking and I'm standing, I'm saying, you know, we have a president that says one thing and very much willing to do the exact opposite. In fact, he was always going to do the exact opposite. He wanted to extend this term, and he needed, the fools around him to do the donkey work and act as if eventually he was forced into it. But we all know, this was the plan from the word go. But I must say, it's really disappointing at the end to say, ever since independence, Zimbabwe has never had free, fair, and credible elections. Okay, let's take away the free, fair, and credible elections. That looks like a tall order. Zimbabwe has never had a power change that has been smooth and not much talked about. The first time we had power change, we were coming from a coup. That is the only solution that we could come up with. We had to fight each other. We had to chase each other away, and hunt each other down. It just shows, as a country, and that, the type of leaders that we have are so selfish. They want to die in position. What what can he still achieve in 2 years that could not have been done in 10 years? You got to ask that question. Man, you had 10 years to fix, what needed to be fixed. What do you need 2 more years for? And from 2005, where we are still, you now need another 5 years. You want to start from today. It's incredible. I really don't get, the whole drive to say, and besides, you do this today, and 2030 comes, you're going to go. Then maybe somebody else is going to take over. What's to stop that person from taking not 2, but another 5 years? It becomes a vicious cycle. Once you get the ball rolling of amending and suiting your own, the next guy will do the same thing. The next guy, eventually, the next guy, they will want to be king. We are a failed state. And ZANU-PF is the real reason why this country is in a mess. They are selfish. It's just heartbreaking when you see, some of the things that really happen in Zimbabwe.
Well, one point that must also be emphasized here is that Mnangagwa is suggesting the very thing that got us into this mess, with this idea that he should be allowed to stay in power. As much as after the 2017 military coup, he wanted to dissociate himself completely with the regime that went before, and hence the reason of this Second Republic, so that he doesn't have to explain why the country was in a mess during the 37 years of Mugabe rule. He was at the heart of that First Republic. Let's be perfectly honest about that. Mnangagwa was minister in one portfolio or another in the Mugabe regime since independence in 1980. He was also behind some of the heinous crimes by that regime. He played his part in rigging elections to make sure that Mugabe stays in power. And therefore, then for him to now pretend that he wasn't part of it is an outrage. Of course he was part of it. The only reason why he is so keen to distance himself is because he doesn't want to admit that he was part of the reason of the failure. That the so-called First Republic was a disaster for the country. But the important message here is that if the Constitution of Zimbabwe had 2 or 3, whatever it is, term limits for Mugabe, he also would have tried to change it. In fact, that is exactly what Mugabe was doing. Mugabe has been changing the rules so that he stays in power. If you look at, for instance, the issue of elections, initially it was parliamentary 5 years, presidential 6 years. But in 2001, he struggled to win the presidential race. And he found, to his shock, that some of his own ZANU-PF colleagues were not interested in helping him. So to force them to help him campaign, he came up with the harmonized elections in 2008. Forced all ZANU-PF candidates to campaign for him. And now, one of the ways they are thinking of extending Mnangagwa's rule is decoupling this idea of harmonized elections. Again, you can see this is just somebody changing the rules just to give themselves advantage so that they could stay in power for a bit longer. That is exactly the reason why Zimbabwe is a failed state. We have had a regime that was not accountable to the people. And they've used various ways to stay in power. And that's why we are stuck. And this resolution has nothing to do with Mnangagwa being a super performer. Even if he was, it's irrelevant. The right of the people to a meaningful say in the governance of the country is not conditional. That clause in the Constitution is not conditional. It can be changed if the incumbent does well. What about if he can bribe those in positions of power and authority? Where we will be? Stuck. This is the problem we have here. Welcome to you, Temba. I don't know whether you've had a chance to listen to the ZANU-PF party resolution that ED 2030 is back on track.
Can you summarize?
Well, let's just play that video clip again for your benefit, Temba, and for those who have just joined us.
Now, therefore, be it resolved by the delegates to the ZANU-PF 22nd National People's Conference as follows. State of the party. On the state of the party, that whereas the 21st National People's Conference of ZANU-PF held on 26 October 2024 in Bulawayo resolved as follows. In recognition of the extensive developmental milestones and the significant socio-economic progress achieved under the leadership of the President and First Secretary of ZANU-PF, His Excellency Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, it is resolved that his term of office as President of the Republic of Zimbabwe be extended beyond 2028 to 2030. The party and government are therefore directed to initiate the requisite legislative amendments to give full effect to this resolution to ensure continuity, stability, and the sustained transformation of the nation. Noting that no notable steps have been taken to implement the above resolution, this conference hereby reaffirms this resolution and directs the Secretary for Legal Affairs and the Minister of Justice to ensure that before the 23rd National People's Conference, this resolution of the party is fully implemented.
Mayor Temba, what do you say?
No, it's comedy. This is comedy.
Yeah, it is. It is tragic.
No, I won't say tragic, eh? It's just laughable. It's laughable. Ask me why I'm saying it's laughable. It's laughable in the extent that there is no opposition. So opposition is non-existent. So it's just you in your house, you implement your rules, you call them out, but you want a crowd, but there's no crowd. People are, even if the crowd is there, you're just implementing your rules. So the fact of democracy is out. So why don't we declare Zimbabwe a one-party state once and for all, and then we know it for sure. And then it's a one-party state. It is. It is a one-party state. So why don't we just follow suit and say, and they declare that Zimbabwe is a one-party state, unlike saying on the 20, giving dates, Minister of Justice should want. Why don't they just say, this is a one-party state, blank out?
Are you suggesting that declaring it will be the solution, or are you despairing?
I'm saying, I just want to be on all pedestals. I'm hypothetically saying I'm on ZANU-PF. Let's say hypothetical I'm ZANU-PF. I'll say, why don't we just declare the nation a one-party state once, than dragging feet, and then see the response of people after we declare hypothetically that Zimbabwe is a one-party state.
Ben, do you have any remarks on that?
You see, the problem here is when you look at ZANU-PF, these are a group of underachievers that will make sing and dance. If you remember, just a few years back, these guys are the guys that went and commissioned, mud ovens to say, we can bake bread out of these, and ministers and everybody, went there. You can even remember the most, famous one was them saying they've discovered, diesel in Chinhoyi, and everybody, within ZANU-PF ranks went there. These are people that know no better. Since when have you ever found diesel, that you simply just drill on from the ground and pour in your car? All of them could not figure out that this is impossible. So you have a bunch of underachievers. And the worst part is you have a people that are clueless on how to get themselves out of a mess. I think that is where our biggest problem is. Why am I saying that? Look, we 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 lack principles. We lack knowledge of what needs to be done. So hence we are easily, you know, swept by any, you know, any rush that passes us. Today Geza says this, we are ready to run with him. Tomorrow Chamisa says this, we are ready to run with him. Tomorrow, you know, up to guys like, you know, there was this character here called Nyoka Wemabunu recently. And we were willing to run with him again. And it's not the ordinary person. Even the intellectuals are falling, you know, victim to these guys. And then you question yourself to say, if we can be so naive and gullible, how do we then expect to defeat ZANU-PF? You know, this is why we are at a point where we seem to have lost hope because we really don't know what to do. And now we can say, you know, why don't we just declare it? We've given up hope. But, you know, the answer has always been there. You know, a lot of people have been saying, we talk, we don't give solutions. The answer has always been there. And the worst thing is, the solution is there. The answers have been given. All we just need is to implement or to accept and push the narrative forward. We have EU, we have AU, we had SADC. They gave us recommendations. Those recommendations are as good as reforms. You don't need to table, to write your own. Just take the paper that is already marked as correct and table that to say we want these implemented before any election. That way, it is no longer our problem when they come to observe. It becomes their problem as well. If we are sure, if we are going to be fought, arrested, shot, and killed, it no longer becomes a Zimbabwean problem because they told us to do that.
But
And it becomes an international problem.
Just a minute there. Welcome to Ben M. Okay, Ben M, do you have any comments on what Themba was trying to say there? That ZANU-PF should just declare Zimbabwe a de facto one-party state and be done with it. I don't see that as a solution. What do you think?
I don't know whether you want to say Praem.
Sorry?
Do you want to say Praem or there is another guy by Ben M?
Ben M. Or Brahim.
Okay.
I don't know.
No,
it's
Praem, fine. Right. I hear people talking. My brother, we've got a serious problem in Zimbabwe. I just want to contribute a very little. We've got a serious problem. The serious problem comes from us, the people who talk here on the on such platforms. We're very good at talking. We're very good at talking about ideas, but we don't implement them. Right now, we know there is no more opposition in Zimbabwe. We have Keza, who comes out to the people and say, I'm sorry for whatever we did before, but let's remove this monster here. Let's go out and demonstrate. Nobody goes out. He comes again, he says, let's not go out, let's keep indoors. People wake up, they go into town, in business as usual. He comes up again. He says, let's demonstrate. People don't go, giving a leeway to the police to arrest the few people who were there. But if there were even, let's say, 500 people, let me say, not even 500, but let me say 3,000 people who had gathered for this demo. The police, as few as they are, with their few cars, they wouldn't arrest anybody because they will see that people will stand together. And this thing that we don't stand for our own people when they get arrested. Let's take it from other countries where people stand together, fight the police if ever the police want to arrest people. Because by arresting a few people, all what they want to do is instill fear that people are being arrested. So I mustn't find myself here, otherwise I'll be arrested. And the second thing, while Keza is giving these instructions, where is he? Because as a commander, you cannot be giving instructions when you yourself you are hiding. So who is supposed to be going in front and get arrested when you are hiding somewhere? This is our big problem. We are very good at talking, and the worst thing is that most of us are hiding in other people's countries. We can't go there. Even to vote, we can't go there. We are only talking. Let's go vote. Let's go vote. But I'm sitting comfortably in my house. I don't go and vote.
Brahim, let me just follow up that your suggestion there with a question. This cartoon here that is on the screen right now, was widely circulated, and I think the main thrust of that cartoon is that what Keza was proposing was digging a hole to fill another hole. In other words, we are creating another dictatorship to end one dictatorship by creating another. This is a repeat of 2020 or 2017. What do you say to that?
Can I say?
I would like to beg to differ. I'll just quote even in the Bible. God used Moses, who used to persecute Christians, to take them out of Egypt to Israel. God used Saul, who used to torment Christians in Damascus. And what happened? He was struck by lightning, or there was lightning. Then when he got up from there, there was a word that was telling him that you are now Paul, and you must now go to preach the word of God. So we don't know if ever this Chiwenga guy that now we are saying he's our savior, because we have an opposition that was being led by Chamisa, and Chamisa has been quiet. People have been trying to say, Chamisa, talk to us.
Let's focus on what we are talking about here.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you did not know that Mnangagwa was a dictator in 2017?
Unfortunately,
you believed that he had his moment on the road to Damascus. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Unfortunately, my brother, I come from the Ndebele tribe that was killed by Mnangagwa. I know him very well. From 1980, when we thought we'd become independent, I know him very well, everything he did. And fortunately, I also worked in the government department, which was in the security. So I know him very well. I know his commands. I know what he does. That man is evil. I will never talk good of him under whatever circumstances. If ever God says we mustn't judge one another, this one, I will judge him myself.
So in other words, you agree with the cartoon there, that we only dug ourselves a hole to cover another hole. We swapped one dictator with another in 2017.
In 2017, that's exactly what happened.
And we are now
And-
saying this time we
Yeah.
are not sure that we are sure that we are not proposing to replace Mnangagwa with another dictator.
This time, we have been getting the word that these guys, they are working with Chamisa. This is what made us believe that most probably, because right now, my brother, we can take you and put you there in that position. We don't know what you are going to do to us. You can turn against us today and start doing differently from what we are discussing today. So even him, when he comes in Chiwenga, we don't know now how he was going to work with these other guys. But the bottom line was to remove the monster. Now, even if it was a baboon, even if it was a Wathok coming to say it wants to remove that monster, we will go with that.
Well, let's hear other people's opinion on this one. Temba, what do you say to that?
Yes.
Mr.
Can I speak? I concur and I agree 100% with the previous speaker. But can I be the devil's advocate?
Yeah, sure. Go on. Is that Munya?
Hello?
Temba. Can I be the devil's advocate?
Sorry, who is speaking? Is that Munya who is speaking?
It's Temba.
Yeah, Temba. Okay, sorry. Go ahead then, Temba.
I wanted also to comment briefly there, the discussion that is there.
Okay, let's just give Temba can you comment on this particular issue?
I think, Mr. Mkori, you are very correct, because we are repeating the same problem that we have. But I'm sure this discussion is gone for very long time. There are a lot of platforms that actually I've been trying to follow here and there, including what actually you are sharing for this discussion for quite some time, which is very relevant. But unfortunately, I don't know how best people can do to really start something on the ground where we can actually mobilize with all these ideas. I followed Dr. Ibo Mandas at some time when they were saying they're drafting something, and I got lost on the way. Because we cannot just fold our hands and say, because ZANU-PF have their manifesto or resolutions and so forth. It must be challenged, because we cannot let the coming generation just lose out just like that.
No,
One party state
agree
is
with
very
you.
dangerous, and we have seen it over the years in Africa. Things are not working out.
Okay, can you just
Swati
comment
is
so that
trying
we
all
can
that
move
and
back
all
to
that,
that
and there
subject?
is chaos there, and we cannot go any longer.
Can I just
People
interrupt
should start.
again there?
This is the end of 2025. 2026, if there was really people who can
Guys,
come on board,
can I
whether
speak, please?
not from
This guy does
all
not want to
walks
give
of
others
life,
chance
people
to
must
speak.
really be following all this.
Well, I wanted people to just comment on this issue. Why some people genuinely believed that supporting Gesa was not solving anything.
Can I continue?
With another. Are we doing the same thing here? I want people just to focus on that one. Can we finish it? Who wants to speak there? Temba,
Temba.
are you free to? Do you want to say something?
Yes. I don't take long.
Okay.
But my question still stands. Why don't they declare one party state? Because there is zero opposition. So let's not be emotional about it and start saying, let's mobilize. They should mobilize in parliament. There's zero representation in parliament for starters. Because if anything, we have to go by the law. Because ZANU-PF is using the law. to suppress and manipulate us, whatever it's doing. It's using the law. So why don't we have representation? That's the main question. Why don't we have representation as a people, as disgruntled people? Why are we not represented? What is the problem? Because, okay, let's say the votes are rigged. Yes, we agree the votes are rigged. But there is a portion that do not like ZANU PF. There is a constituency that doesn't like ZANU PF. What is that constituency doing in parliament? Are they all bought? Are they all in ZANU PF pockets? Let's be realistic. Let's not be emotional. Let's investigate who's in ZANU PF's pockets, and
Okay.
that's the simple thing.
Can I say we will come back to that one immediately after this one? I don't know whether, Ben, do you want to comment on this issue? Was supporting Geza going to be a repeat of 2017? What is your opinion?
Look, we have video footage and we've got video evidence of Geza, before he started doing the live broadcast, when he was still with Blessed Mhlanga, when he was doing the interviews and so forth. He made his position very clear, and he made the terms very clear. First of all, he stands and simply puts it that Chiwenga is supposed to be the leader of the organization. And then he goes on to say, Chinu chedu, tofani gokutopinda. I want a car. That's what he said. I want bodyguards. From that day, that does not tell me that this is a person that is fighting for a better Zimbabwe. It is somebody that wants, because I got booted by the by the current. It's the same as Kasukuwere when he wanted to run, for the 2023 election. He came there as a saint. We know, and we know these people. Our problem should have taught us by now. One thing we should have learned is that Mugabe was not the problem. ZANU PF was. Because as soon as we removed Mugabe and put Mnangagwa, the same story continued. If not, it got worse. So I'm saying...
Can I say something? Sorry. Continue, Ben.
So I'm saying that from what Geza is offering and what the people need are two different things. This is why you find people are not going out as he expects them to. Because the people are learning to say, oh, hold on a minute. This could be 2017. Because the conditions are the same. There's nothing that has changed. It's just different mouthpieces. But the conditions are exactly the same.
Okay, gentlemen, let's leave that issue. Bra M, you heard what Temba was proposing there. That should ZANU-PF just declare a de facto one-party state and be done with it. What is your comment to that specific issue?
Yeah, my answer to that one-party state was declared in 1980. Some of us were already adults by then. We know exactly that when ZANU-PF came in, the first thing that they muted was we need to have a one-party state. Despite that, they knew there was ZAPU that was fighting alongside them for the liberation of the country. Then it failed in the sense that ZAPU would win all the constituencies from Whitebridge to Vic Falls to Binga to Midlands. So with all those 29 seats that ZAPU would win, they couldn't just say, let's do it. It failed. This is the reason they brought in the Kukuraundi story with a fake dissidents that they created themselves.
I have to agree with you there. I honestly think declaring a one-party state, we are lucky actually that we have not crossed that line yet. And it will be a pity if we allow them to. Temba, what you were saying there, that at the present moment there is no meaningful opposition, it has been in ZANU-PF's interest to undermine the opposition and to bribe them to do ZANU-PF's bidding. That is what we're talking about here. Even this resolution, look at the number of people who have received new cars from Mnangagwa, and all for the primary purpose that they endorse this ED 2030. So there was nothing democratic about that resolution. And the other thing that we said maybe before you joined is, even if it was the will of the people of the ZANU-PF membership freely given, it is still unconstitutional. I cannot deny other people's right to vote for whoever they like, just because I am now the majority in the ruling party. That is part and parcel of understanding that the rule of law, when you say you have got the right to speak, it should also mean that you have got a duty to make sure that that right is extended to everybody else. And that is what ZANU-PF is failing to do here. They want to pretend that the membership of the party is forcing them to break the law. They should have told those people that this is completely nonsense. The law, the constitution of the land says you serve a maximum of 2 terms. That is it, period. It never said if you are performing well and your party members want you to stay, you can break the law and extend your rule. I think that is part and parcel of understanding the rule of law. And if we allow them to declare...
Can I say something? Can I say something? Can I say something? Please.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Can I? There's a precedent that is being set by ZANU-PF. It's a very stupid one, or it's not even wise. They're setting a certain precedent based on emotion and not reality. Let's give them, let's say, in all reality, because let's not talk about constitution because it's not being held at all. Let me say their way of approaching things of it's terrorism. It's terrorism. They're setting a precedent of terrorism because they're setting the one precedent that won't be sustainable at all. And then it will go back and bite them. They're not wise at all. As much as they are hanging to power, democracy should stand because democracy is the constitution. The constitution is being manipulated. If you can see clearly, you've got 5 senses, you'll see that they're using the constitution to portray something, but in all essence, like I said, Zimbabwe is a one-party state, but it's just not official. It's just not official.
Can I say something regarding exactly what you are saying, my brother?
Yes.
Remember, there are 2 constitutions here that we're talking about. We have a party constitution. We have a national constitution where you, me, and everybody else participate into drafting that constitution until it comes up being a book that enshrines all the laws and the rights in of that particular country or nation. The party involves only party affiliates. So ZANU-PF is actually not differentiating between the national and the party constitution. They take the party constitution and also apply it on the national constitution, knowing pretty well what the national constitution says. So it's deliberate. And it's because they are the rulers. They are the people who can control the military. They are the people who can control all the government institutions. So that's why they are doing it deliberately. Otherwise, in a democratic state, the president of ZANU can be their president or life president. We don't care. But the president of the country must be guided by the constitution. And if the constitution is being breached deliberately, the law must take its course. But unfortunately, it's not the case in Zimbabwe.
That's why my point still stands. My point still stands. Why doesn't ZANU-PF just declare one party state? It still stands and it's still valid. They should just declare one party state, and then
Can I
we
answer
see.
you, Themba? Can I
Go
answer
ahead.
you?
Yes.
You see, ZANU-PF needs Zimbabwe to look like a democracy. It does not necessarily have to be a democracy, but it needs to look like a democracy.
It's
I'll
not.
give you-
It's not. It's not a
This is what
democracy.
I'm
And
saying. Listen to what I'm saying. They want it to look like. I did not say it is. Because Zimbabwe is not a democracy. I mean, look, let's look at the SADC report, the AU report, all observer mission reports. They stated that even the election did not pass our constitutional standards. It was illegal.
Also,
That is what they
which
say.
law is there? When all the courts they are captured by the state. That's why you
Wait.
find if people even go
Wait.
with genuine cases,
This
whether
is-
it's political or anything, they won't win because ZANU-PF, they've actually captured and they put their people there. So which
That's
law
what I
are you
understand.
saying that
Yes,
they are
I
following? the law?
agree
They
with you
don't
there,
follow
my
the
brother.
law.
I agree
ZANU-PF.
with you. I agree with
They've
you
destroyed
100%.
every institution of the
Kept-
country. And that
look
is
at-
why we are saying all people from all walks of life must come up, especially when this issue of 2028 election is coming. Let's not even participate in that. But we
Exactly.
should not fold our
Me and
hands.
you are talking
People
the
must
same thing, but you are
demand
kind of
that
going ahead.
all things must be done transparently.
Exactly.
Voters' role is chaos. They are ghost voters there.
We are talking the same language.
It is manned by ZANU-PF and everyone. There is no election that can happen in that. There should be an independent people that should work there who actually put the country first. Thank you.
Munya, sorry, can I just follow up on what you are saying there? What you are saying is correct, but what Themba and Ben are also saying is that those institutions, those elections are not free, fair, and credible. So where do we go from here? We can't keep on saying, oh, we want elections to be free, fair, and credible, and yet acknowledge that they are not in practice free, fair, and credible. So where do we go from here? I don't know whether Ben or Themba, you want to follow that one up again.
My brother, let me answer you on that one. In Zimbabwe, there will never be any free elections with the caliber of the leaders that are there. Secondly, if you look at what is happening, people are dividing themselves on tribal grounds. Before, it was like Ndebeles versus the Shonas. Now, the Ndebeles are out of the equation in this. Now, someone says it's time for the Karangas to eat because the Zurus have been eating. The next day, it will be the Makorekore people must now eat. Then the next day, it will be Manyiga who must eat. I'm being honest with this. So elections don't work. We just need to pick up guns.
Well,
True, I concur. Because
Can
like
I answer you on that one?
okay, Ben, go ahead.
You know, Zimbabwe's situation has been made a whole lot easier. It's only that we do not want to follow the path. We are talking about captured institutions, we are talking about rigged elections, we are talking about all those problems. And those problems have been stated. I was talking about election observers. Observers come to see how we do our things and to mark. They're like invigilators. They mark how the process from start to finish. And at the end, they give us a report. And that report is sent to us, the people, and is given to the government. And within that report, there are recommendations. In actual fact, we have already been given the solutions. Zimbabwe has the solutions in their hands. What it needs is for us to implement those solutions. And there's a good video that Dr. Mumba states, and I'll try and quote a bit of it. He says that Zimbabweans should fight for free, fair, and credible elections, not on the day of participation or the day after the elections are rigged. The start now. So ours now, right now, is to ensure that by the time we get to 2028, we have fixed the problems that are there before going into any election.
Yeah, but
Because if we do not fix,
can I interrupt you on that point?
Ben,
I think the point that Temba and M are saying here is the solution, they know it. These people, when Mnangagwa got into power, his mentality was, it is now the time for the Karangas to eat. And that does not include the solution you're talking about. And I think that is a fundamental weakness in our political system, where once you get into power, you're not looking at the solution. It's my time to eat. That is what we should address there, I think.
no, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ben, I think you're a bit soft on this one. You're a bit soft in the sense that you think ZANU PF will follow the law, will implement. For a thing to be implemented, it's an institution, bruh. An institution that's government. And government is ZANU PF. It won't implement. So let's not saying let's implement, but for something to be implemented, it's an institution that has to do it. But
the
the
problem,
institution.
Demba, look at it this way. The problem is we don't seem to value the part that we have played. It's unfortunate for Zimbabwe that we have had characters just like ZANU PF for opposition. Zimbabweans have done a lot. A lot of people say Zimbabweans are coward, they don't want to march. Zimbabweans have sacrificed a lot. I'll take you back to 2008 when Emerson and his ZANU PF went about beating those people, on Operation Mavotera Papi. The people of Zimbabwe had spoken. Come back again, fast forward 2023. Over 2 million plus people went and voted for Chamisa. And after Sadak had stepped in, Chamisa and his clowns went ahead and took up seats in an illegal process, hence granting legitimacy. So we cannot say Zimbabweans did not do something. Zimbabweans did something. But unfortunately, we have selfish, the guys that you're talking about, Dodavo Kumbojga. This is what the MPs, Triple C MPs said. It's our hard-earned money. We invested and we need to win it back. So that was the reason. I mean, look, if you're an MP, boss, right now, you invest $1,000 to stand as a candidate. The moment you win, 70,000, that's your vehicle, traveling allowance, hotels, and so forth and so forth. You're making tremendous money. That is motivation enough to even participate in rigged elections. So unfortunately, we cannot say Zimbabweans have not sacrificed. Zimbabweans have sacrificed, but the clowns that have been at our disposal as so-called opposition have let us down.
I beg to
Uh,
differ with you.
can
I
I-
beg to
can
differ.
can I
I
say
beg to
something,
differ.
Temba?
Can we give
Temba, wait.
Brian the opportunity to speak? Answer back.
I want to answer my brother here. Right. There is one, I don't know whether I must call it a phenomena that is happening in Zimbabwe when it comes to elections. Right now, a lot of people say, Chamisa, 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 Chamisa. Chamisa is an individual. But come elections, there is 105 parties to vote for. Where are these parties right now when things are like this? Including people like Monzora. Where are these parties? Some of these parties are being manufactured and used by ZANU-PF just to make sure people are divided into those parties. But if we were to talk real about this so-called election reforms, by now we should be having parties, even if they are 10, saying we are not going to go into elections before this is done. But right now, everyone is quiet. Even Chamisa, who had the largest following, is quiet. He says he doesn't want to talk much because those people who are against him use everything that he says against him. So we don't have people, men with that bravery to say, guys, this is our party. We are standing here and saying we want reforms. Let's start now before we get there. Nobody's doing that. That's why ZANU-PF is doing as they wish. It's so unfortunate. Thank you.
Temba, do you have something to say to that one?
My point still stands. Why doesn't ZANU-PF just declare one party state and let's see what will happen after that?
Temba, that
Because
point, you have answered
can I
yourself.
no? Can
No,
I continue?
Let me just clarify, comment on that one quickly. You have answered it yourself. Is it the formal declaration of one-party state? Because in reality, on the ground, it is already a one-party state.
Yes.
So why are you so particular about it?
Can I answer you?
Yeah.
Why I'm so particular? Because maybe Zimbabweans need that drastic push. ZANU-PF should just take the rupuk and throw it in the drain and just say Zimbabwean constitution is now ZANU-PF constitution is now the Zimbabwean constitution. They should just declare it because that's what it is. And then let's see if we are so gullible. We are so gullible to the extent that even churches are mushrooming everywhere. We are so gullible as Zimbabweans, and we don't even as Zimbabwean. There is the trend that madiri, money. That money thing is killing us. the greed for money. We are so greedy as Zimbabweans. The culture of Zimbabweans are so greedy for money. So that's what ZANU-PF is using against us. The appetite for money that we're not even holding. So they fish you with money that is not even in your hand. And
Kemba,
just a hope.
Kemba, you ask a question, then you start pressing to somewhere else. You were asking a simple question that why are they not declaring a one-party state? Dwell on that question, and I think they've been answered. And we've answered you that this one-party state thing started long time when we attained our so-called independence, which is not independence. And they are not going to come out and say, today, Zimbabweans, let it be known to you that we are declaring a one-party state. They will not do that. You will see it. So you can keep on asking this question over and over, but they will never come out. It's for you now to see with your clever eye and your clever brains that no, these people have declared a one-party state by whatever they will be doing, but they will never come and tell you from their word of mouth. So let's forget about that and dwell on the discussion as to what is happening right now. The one-party state thing is over. It's already there by destroying the Chamisa opposition party, Triple C. They were heading towards there. That's why they used somebody from Triple C, who is Chabangu. Chabangu made sure that whenever he recalled somebody, there were elections, he would not deploy someone to be elected from that constituency or from that place. It's already a known case that is exactly where we are heading to. That is eventually 100% ZANU-PF in parliament. Thank you very much.
I'm answered.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to take up an issue that Ben was also raising. I think, Ben, if you want to be honest, you've also got to admit that we've got a problem with the electorate. You were talking about the opposition leaders being corrupt and incompetent. The problem with sorry, it was Brian maybe was saying that the opposition biggest problem has been you've got a membership that will follow you blindly. So when you look at, for instance, the issue of implementing reforms to make sure elections are free, fair, and credible, the opposition, MDC and Triple C, had the opportunity to implement those reforms. They did not. And worse still, their supporters have failed to pick on that. You cannot run away from it. You cannot run away from the fact that the opposition, MDC, and I think at one time we were talking of Monzora and so forth, have been corrupted by ZANU-PF to the point where they are now ZANU-PF Team B in all but name. And not only that, they have managed to con their people, their followers, to believe that they are still fighting in the people's corner. And the people themselves have been slow in picking that up. Ben was talking about these reports. How many times have those reports been made public? And how many times have the supporters of the opposition parties come up and say to their leaders, why are we not implementing those reforms? They've never done so. So our problem, the essence of it is we have a compound problem. ZANU-PF, I agree, it's a dictatorship. It has imposed itself on the nation and has no intention of giving up power. When they say, they really mean it. They have no intention of giving up power. by hook or by crook. Then we've got the opposition, who, when they were elected initially, they promised to bring about the changes the nation needed, implement those reforms to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. But in the last 25 years, most of the opposition leaders that are active out there have been corrupted to the point now where they are ZANU-PF in all but name. And then we've got the electorate, who have been so naive, gullible, they believe in a leader to the point of becoming blind to the failings of the leader. On this platform, we have discussed the issue of Chamisa lied to the people about implementing reforms, about Triple C winning big because we've plugged the vote rigging loopholes. We discussed that before the elections, during the elections, after the elections, and even after the elections when the evidence is there that he actually lied because ZANU-PF went on to blatantly rig those elections. Some people still refuse to accept Chamisa lied. Why? Because they've got this personality cult mentality where Chamisa has been put on a pedestal. He's become a god who cannot do anything wrong. Democracy does not work when you've got people with that mentality. That is the reality of it. Because ZANU-PF has taken advantage of that to make sure that they've got an opposition which is only there by name. That is our problem, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's sad. When ZANU-PF says ZANU-PF Europa, they don't mean that we got independence through the blood, but they mean themselves would rather resort to shedding blood if ever they see their rule being threatened. So most probably, with what is now happening, people don't even know. From my observation, the people of Zimbabwe are now confused. They don't even know what to do. They don't even know who is right, who is wrong. So vachatonga kusvika matonga ava nenyanga. So it's a sad story, gentlemen, but I don't know. Let's just put it to God to give us that reprieve, maybe to have his own way happening to that country. Otherwise, it's a very, very sad thing.
You know,
The moment
what I always say.
the
I
moment
always
we
say,
say the moment we keep saying there's an opposition, it's over decorating, guys. Let's be realistic. The Chamisa, it's just a coalition partner like in South Africa there is COSATU. Chamisa is COSATU. It's part of ZANU-PF. The moment we realize that, the earlier the better. Our problem is not ZANU-PF, our problem is the opposition. The opposition is a coalition, not an opposition. It's a coalition government. It's what can I say? It's a branch that campaigns for ZANU-PF, but pretending to be an opposition. So our main headache is the opposition. Let's leave ZANU-PF alone. Their traits are, we know them, we've seen them, but our problem is our opposition. That's my take.
Who is supposed to be the opposition, Temba?
I am opposing. Personally, I'm opposing. I don't like what's happening, but I am just one man.
So you are the one who is wrong, because the moment you are in opposition, that means you are wrong according to your statement.
I'm not. I'm not. The opposition is making rigging legitimate by participating. So If you are real opposition and you think things are not right, don't participate. And then now your numbers, talk to your people and say, guys, let's stay away. So the moment I say, guys, let's go and vote, I'm complicit. I'm the same criminal. So I shouldn't blame ZANU PF. I should blame myself as the opposition, if I may say.
Okay,
But
gentlemen, can I
do
ask
you
everybody
agree?
for closing remarks? Who shall we start with? Do you want to start, Brian?
Okay, fine. I wanted to ask Utemba, do you agree that in the last election, Chamisa had overwhelmed Mnangagwa, and it was Chiwenga who came up with this thing of, no, we can't hand over to the opposition?
That I can't confirm because Zimbabweans, we are so gullible. We are so gullible. We can follow anything. We can follow anything. So the moment we are gullible, that's disunity. We are not united as a people. So that's our cancer. The biggest cancer of Zimbabweans is non-unity. But we
Okay,
suffer. So I'll rather suffer
okay.
than we have a common goal. So what I'm saying in essence, I don't want to drift.
I just
So
wanted
I
to
can't.
finish off my statement, then you would go and continue maybe responding. So, all what I'm also trying to put to you, Temba, is that it is now so unfortunate that Zimbabweans have since become cowards, and no one wants to stand up, even if we assume Chamisa is not right or he was given money or what. Nobody else now wants to stand up and say, I will be the leader of the opposition. So we have a Chabangu who has captured the so-called opposition and handed it over on a silver platter to ZANU-PF. And it's over for the opposition right now. Therefore, we need to have a stronger opposition that will challenge all these things that we are talking about, including this election thing of saying this reform. All these things can only be done if there is a serious opposition. Otherwise, for now, we'll be fighting and talking on the social platforms without anything. Even Mnangagwa is now laughing at us that pana nyinga inotongwa pa social media. So unfortunate. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Brother M. You can join us next Saturday. Use the same link. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks? Ben, are you still there? Okay, Temba, do you want to give your closing remarks?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My closing remarks it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, but let's self-respect. Let's introspect as personal on a personal level. Let's not bring the ZANU-PF MTC. As a Zimbabwean, what do you want for the future generation? What do you want for the future generation? Do you want the same system that only gives preference, not merit? So our situation is on preference, not merit. So if we can work a future Zimbabwe, which is the future Zimbabwe I dream of, is based on merit. If you can produce, if you can work, if you can do, but not preference, I hope that will maybe in the next 62 years or 13 years, but I'll prefer merit than preference.
Thank you very much, Temba. Ben, are you still there? Do you want to give your closing remarks? Okay. Looks like we've lost Ben. My closing remarks is it is tragic that this is the 21st century, and yet hundreds of thousands of ordinary Zimbabweans are living in a mud hut. This encapsulates the real problem in Zimbabwe. We have failed to govern ourselves to the point where we have subjected, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of our own people to a life of abject poverty. This whole business about ED must rule until 2030 is a nonsense. Our most basic rule should be that every Zimbabwean should have a meaningful say in the governance of the country. No one is above the law. No one has the divine right to rule the country. And this so-called resolution, ZANU-PF resolution, is hitting at the very essence of bad governance. That is why we are in this mess. And it seeks to perpetuate the one-party state that we are in. How that can be seen as progress beggars belief. The people of Zimbabwe must fight to end this nightmare of the de facto one-party state. Mnangagwa, if you look at what he did in the 2008 electoral coup, clearly shows that here is a man who has no respect of the rule of the law, who has no respect for the other people's right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country, and who has no respect for life. How anyone can say that qualifies such a person to stay in power beggars belief. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks? Okay, for some reason we are failing to get Ben back. Thank you very much, those of you who were able to join us tonight, and I hope you'll be able to do it again in future. Every Saturday is the same link on StreamYard, and if you want to join, please use that link, and we'd like to hear your views. Thank you again to Temba and Bra M and all those who were able to join us tonight. Good night.